Hello and welcome to the Real-Esteem podcast. Today is August the 29th, 2018. I'm your host, Patrick Tabor, and today on the Marriage Edition, we're going to talk about dating in marriage. If you'd like to hear any of our previous podcasts or get a copy of our book, Real-Esteem, Finding Your True Identity in Christ, please visit us at enith.com, www.eyniith.com. Just so everyone knows, I really do work hard to try to get my wife to come and be a part of one of these podcasts. And she has said that she will. It's just a period of time I'm trying to get her prepared to come and get involved and be able to communicate and talk just like I do. But not tonight. But either way, you know, she's coming and I'm planning on enjoying those moments where you can hear her point of view during the marriage podcast. So today we're going to be talking about dating in marriage. So I don't know if I've told everybody or relayed this information, but we have been married 22 years, I think. 22 years. I hope. I hope I'm correct. But yes, we've been married 22 years and we are learning day by day that, you know, the things that we don't do affect us just as much as the things we do. So we have to plan times to go out alone because we're still raising our children and we need to find time to go out and be together and have a good time like we did when we were younger, when we were first married, when we were newlyweds. Once we started having children, it seems like life it took over and we were not finding the time that we wanted and the finances that we needed to continue to go out and date each other, just to have fun, not just to reminisce on the past, but to create new memories. So we have to do that. In a marriage, it's necessary that you get out, just you and your spouse, have a good time. Yes, remember the good old days, but also think about making the new days. In Ephesians 4:2-3, it says, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. So you have to work, as it's saying here, you know, you have to work to keep your relationship with God, but just in the same sentence, you have to work to keep your relationship with anybody, whether it's friends, colleagues, children, or your spouse. You have to work to maintain that. It's important that you create a unity and you keep that unity together and going throughout your relationship. If you don't, things tend to fall apart. You start to realize that you have more issues than you thought. You're not really working on some of those problems or issues. You're not growing. You're just trying to get by, and you have to maintain what brought you together so that it keeps you together. Colossians 3:14 says, and over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. So you have to have love. It's like mandatory. Without love, how are you going to be able to effectively treat your spouse the correct way? With love, it conquers all things. You're able to cover your spouse. You're able to understand your spouse. You're able to relate to circumstances. You actually go through things together. Love brings you closer, and it actually helps you get through difficult times that you have to share together. Ephesians 4:2 says, be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing one another in love. It's so important that if you're going to get back into dating, you can't bring the issues from home or from work with you on the date. You can't sit and look at your phone the whole time during the date. You can't try to remember things that you need to pick up in the store all the time on the date. You kind of need to let everything go. Just release everything for that moment. Go hang out with your wife or your husband. Enjoy your time together. Don't think about everything that could go wrong or might be going wrong, or if the house is getting tore up or whatever the situation be. Don't worry about anything. Just enjoy each other for that moment. It's important that you focus on one another, because when you get back into the rigmarole of life, you may forget sometimes to tell your wife, hey, I love you. Hey, I missed you today. I was thinking about you earlier, or vice versa. Hey, I bought you something. I wanted you to know you're a great husband. Whatever it is that you do, those things can get lost in the minutia of a day, trying to get other things accomplished. And these dates can bring things back into perspective. 1 John 4:12 says, no one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us and his love is made complete in us. It should be the easiest job for you to love your spouse. We show love to all these people out in public and at church and all these different places. We show kindness and friendship and acquaintance and all these different things that we do for people. You should be stronger at showing that type of love or those types of love to your spouse. It says a lot when you can do more for your spouse, show more kindness and love and gentleness to your spouse than you show to other people outside. Not to say that you shouldn't show it to people outside. You should. I'm just saying the love you have for your spouse should always exceed what you're doing for other people. If not, there's an issue, and you need to really correct that because dating can bring that back into perspective. That's the point I'm trying to make. Lastly, Ephesians 5:21 says, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. One of the greatest things you can do is submit that time to be with your spouse. Let them know that you care about them and you love them and you're glad you married them and that you want to continue in this life as long as you possibly can together. You don't want anything to come between you two. And with this love of submitting, this act of submitting to one another out of reverence for Christ, you're actually making your relationship stronger, and it's going to be more and more difficult for the enemy to ever come in and break up what God's put together. I hope you got something out of this today. Be blessed. Grace and peace.